Okay. Again, take a moment here to think about how our lives were all changed quite a few years ago on this day. It definitely makes us appreciate the men and women we have fighting for us all over the world, plus our firefighters, and a lot of people were impacted on this day. It looks like the lawnmowers should be coming onto the track. They're going to be moving that. We will be getting them out here. We do have 20 lawnmowers signed up here. We're going to run all 20 down to the last lawnmower running. This is something, if you haven't seen it before, kind of an interesting event. Really popped up in popularity here in the past few years. Up in order on the sheet here. They're coming in 2 wide. We've got the 42, Tim Isaac. The 07, Jordan Fricky out of Elida, sponsored by Fricky Farm. The 33X, Ben Simmons out of New Marshfield, sponsored by the New Marshfield Speed Shop. The 00.5, Ronnie Knight Jr., sponsored by Baker's Auto Salvage. He's here out of Milton, Kentucky. The 331, Jason Pennington out of Ross, sponsored by Juggalo Inc. The number 11, Tim Jones out of Napoleon. The number 37, Joe Bird out of Hamilton, sponsored by Black Magic. The number 693, James Philpott out of Hamilton, also sponsored by Black Magic. The number 509, Brent Bird out of Hamilton. The 891.5, Dustin Philpott out of Hamilton. The 693.5, Chris Philpott out of Hamilton. The 12S, Sean Brotherton out of Portland, Indiana. The 01, Alec Mickelson out of Lebanon, sponsored by K&S Cabinetry. The 216, Jake Mickelson out of Lebanon, sponsored by K&S Cabinetry. The number 88X, Hunter George out of Lebanon, sponsored by Ron George Drainage. The number 510, Jerry King out of Hamilton. The number 913, Jason Spivey out of New Miami. The number 01, Sean Wilson out of Kendallville, Indiana, sponsored by WickFab. The number 527, Matt Giverton out of Hamilton. And the number 212, Kyle Gross out of Hamilton. Those are the 20 mowers that we do have signed up. Now, a couple things that you will notice they're going to be doing out here. If they get flipped over and dismounted from their lawnmower, they are out. We're going to be playing 3 spots today. 3 spots. And it looks like the drivers and the referees are ready. So let's give them a countdown, starting with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let them go. And it looks like the tractor event's underway. And it looks like the number 01, Alex Mickelson out of Lebanon, is going to be the first one off the line. He's going to go nose to nose with the 891.5, Dustin Philpott, also out of Hamilton. The number 216 coming around the bend. That's Jake Mickelson out of Lebanon, sponsored by K&S Cabinetry. The 00.5 making the way back. That's Ronnie Knight Jr. out of Milton, Kentucky. He's up there mixing it up with the 07. Jordan Fricky, I believe he was having a little bit of problem with that thing. They had to get a jump start. I believe he's got her going right now, and everything's just fine. And number 33X, Ben Simmons out of New Marshfield, coming around the bend. And it looks like they're picking on the 01 at present moment. Alex Mickelson out of Lebanon. There comes the number 510 around the bend in a pretty big clip. He's heading on down there, and already he's got some serious problems with the front end of that. He's got the one wheel kind of sticking out to the side. Well, I don't think that's going to help Jerry King out of Hamilton. He's looking around, going to take a shot in the side and come back toward the concrete barricade, and they're slip sliding around out there. But already it looks like the track's coming into play pretty well, getting pretty quick and worked in pretty well. Up on the track side there by the circle track. The number 216 making his way ever so gingerly down through there. That's Jake Mickelson. He's being chased around. He's going to take the wide turn, try to get his front tires cleaned off, I believe, and make his way back in there. Sounds like that 216's running a little bit rough, but he's trying to get her cleaned off and get back into the action. He's going to go nose to nose with the 891.5 Dustin Philpott. Look out, because the number 693.5. I'll tell you what, the 216 made a quick getaway in a big hurry. He was ready to get off that machine. We do have one mower still in gear out there, and it's still running. That's the number 216. We got a few of them abandoned and shipped pretty quickly. The 891.5. Hold them up there, fellas. Hold them up there. Going to have to try to get pay already. We do have the 891.5 Dustin Philpott right out in track central. He's kind of nose to nose there with a 643.5 Chris Philpott. See, Chris is kind of got that machine a little bit modified. He's sitting pretty low, almost like a Chase Lounge on that 693.5. But what they do is try to get the center of gravity as low as they can here, because once you're sitting up high on these tractors, it's a little easier to get them flopped over on their side. So the lower you can get the driver sitting down inside of these and tucked down in, the better it is. And I'll tell you, that 693.5 looks like he's got a little bit of pulley action going on that. I think he's kind of sped her up just a little bit. He'll be one to keep an eye on. One of the familiar names out here in the lawnmower event. He is up here out of Hamilton. That's Chris Philpott on that 693.5. There comes the number 212 around the bend, looking for his next victim. That was Kyle Gross. Got a lot of them down here from Hamilton, Ohio. Also have quite a few out of Lebanon. And again, we do have some from Kentucky and Indiana. We've got them from all over the tri-state area here, battling it out in the Extreme Destruction Lawnmower event. Again, we are going to be taking it down to the last 3 vehicles. 3 of them are going to be getting prize money today. And I'll tell you, that 693.5 Chris Philpott, he's definitely making some pretty good time out on the track. You see him get that machine fired up. That's got a pretty good gear in it. He's going to be chasing down the number 01 of Sean Wilson. He's out of New Miami, Ohio. Actually, Sean Wilson's here out of Kendallville, Indiana. I'm sorry. He's actually got 2 number 01s in this heat. And they're going to be smashing them right in track central down there, packing them all in the middle. And again, that number 510, he had some early problems here. That's Jerry King making his way around. He's got a pretty good gear on that machine, but he's got his wheels straightened out. Only problem is he does have one wheel that's just kind of flopping all over, and it's leading him in all types of direction. You can see him down at the far end of the track just kind of making some wild turns down there. He's trying to make his way back in there. The problem is he's just not having a whole lot of luck getting that 510 headed back down in the right direction. It's kind of pushing him down toward the far end. He's getting her circled around. Hopefully he'll get her back down here and back into the action. The number 212 coming down toward the near end of the track as we speak. That's Kyle Gross out of Hamilton, kind of taking a long way around. He's got back into the mix of things. Next to the number 527 of Matt Giverton out of Hamilton. 125, the 12S, Sean Brotherton out of Portland, Indiana. He's out in the middle of the mix right now. He's still running strong. We do have quite a few mowers already out of contention, and the drivers are off the track. Looks like we might have about 50% of them currently out of contention or making their way to that. But again, the last 3 running will be the drivers that are going to be taking home some prize money here at the Smash It Demolition Derby Extreme Destruction event. All right, now it does look like the inspection line should be coming to an end. And for any of the automobile or truck drivers that have anything still pending on your vehicle, you need to get those wrapped up and taken care of. As soon as this is over, we're going to be having the drivers meeting at the front of the vehicle lineup and keep the show moving right along. Looks like a 643 and a half, 693 and a half. That's Chris Philpott making his way over into the side of Kyle Gross on the 212. Not wanting to be left out. Looks like the number 693, James Philpott, also out of Hamilton, getting into the mix of things. And that 00 and a half, still running strong. Ronnie Knight Jr. out of Milton, Kentucky. Got a couple of them going to go nose to nose right here at the infield there in track central. Everybody else kind of making their way over to get in on the action. I'll tell you, folks, if you decide this might be something you want to do, you can stop by after the show here and talk to either some of the drivers out here or referees. They can give you a list of all the rules, let you know what you need to do to these lawnmowers to get them race ready for next year's Derby season. It's kind of sad that this year is kind of coming to an end, but that means you have all winter to get them all built up. The number 212, Kyle Gross, down at the far end, going nose to nose. Can't quite make the number out on that other vehicle down there. See if we can get a number off of that one. The 510, he's still running strong. He's got that tractor down there. He's got the telescoping wheel and everything. Only problem is he's got one broken link on that front end of that, and that tire is just kind of leading him whichever way it wants to go. That was Jerry King on the 510. 527 out there, still making some good time. Matt Giverton out of Hamilton. He's backing into some of the stopped traffic. I believe that might be Joe Bird on the number 37. Can't quite tell for sure, but one little tractor out there in the middle of the track. He's got the blue t-shirt on. I believe that looks like there was a 37 on the side. Can't make it out too well. We got a couple of them out there that don't have numbers on them, so hopefully give these drivers the credit they deserve, making the hit. Well, one of them sure burning quite a bit of oil out there, it looks like. That's the 693 of James Philpott. We got us another one doing the same exact thing. Don't know if that's a belt smoke or some oil smoke, but either way, we got something going south, and it might have just been a belt. Went south on that machine in a pretty big hurry. Not quite sure what he's got going on, but he's going to exit his vehicle. Hopefully make his way off of the track. Like he's trying to get her shut down before he makes his way off there. It looks like a few of these definitely getting hot and warm. At 693 once again, James Philpott. He's having some serious problems. That's definitely some oil or something out of that. It's coming right out of the stack, and from where I'm standing, it sure smells like oil. Kind of like hyenas in the wild. These guys are sensing that there's some weak specimen out there, and while the 693 James Philpott trying to do it, they're keeping hammering away on the side of him, making sure that he doesn't get back into contention. And it looks like his day has probably come to an end. The 693.5, Chris Philpott, he's still running strong coming around the corner there. Again, he's the one that had that modified seat sitting mighty low. And that was a good nose-to-nose shot right in track central. Again, I can only see the one number on that, but that was Chris Philpott, the 693.5. And he's been all over this track looking for victims here and there. And you can see that they've been modified just a little bit from their grass-growing days. And there he goes once again into the nose of the 00.5 of Ronnie Knight Jr. out of Milton, Kentucky. 527 backing up as we speak. Matt Giverton out of Hamilton. And the track is kind of getting mighty slim out there. Looks like we got about 8 of them still left on their machines. We got to get 5 of them disqualified. The remaining top 3 will be taking home some cash money today. Right now, I believe it's just a bit of a matter of time to see what we have and who's going to be the big winner here in the lawnmower event. And from right here, that was a pretty good solid hit. These two drivers went nose to nose. Sounds like one of them feeling a little bit of that. That was the 891.5. Dustin Philpott out of Hamilton making his way around. Got the back kind of built up. Looks like that thing's slowing down just a little bit. I don't know if he's favoring his left arm or what's going on. I haven't seen him using it too much. Hopefully he's all right out there in the late going of the lawnmower event. But the 510, he's still having some problems working his way around. Tell you, I can't even tell what a lot of these lawnmowers once were. They've been modified past the point. Got probably some Murrays out there. A few Sears models, it looks like. But the 891.5, Dustin Philpott coming in off the side. Again, that 00.5 for Ronnie Knight Jr. out of Milton, Kentucky, sponsored by Baker's Auto Salvage. Out there with those bright pink numbers on the black background, real easy to find. And the 693.5 still tearing them up. Chris Philpott down at the far end. This time he's putting some good licks on the number 510 of Jerry King out of Hamilton. And these guys definitely not making any friends out there. All out for one another. We got a few of them. See from this vantage point, they've got some strings and cables and whatnot going down to the engines. I'm not exactly sure what they got. Looks like a 00.5 is about ready to lose a belt. And doggone it, the number 527 of Matt Giverton out of Hamilton's exiting his machine. See a whole lot of flopping going on underneath the 00.5. We'll see how long that lasts. Looks like probably the belt underneath there. He's kind of looking around, but it's definitely got something, and I believe it just popped off. And I believe he is probably sitting dead in the water, doggone it. That's Ronnie Knight Jr. out of Milton, Kentucky looking around, but he's got that belt flopped off down onto the track, so I'd say his day is pretty much over. Going to be exiting that machine right now. And now there are 6 lawnmowers left out on the track. And I'll tell you, that number 510 is getting shorter and shorter. He's up there against the concrete wall. And doggone it, I think he got himself stuck up there, and he's not able to do much, and he has been counted out. But I'll tell you, Jerry King drove a heck of a good tractor derby out here. Even though considering he lost that front steering on that one tire very early going. He was able to keep her going around and around, keeping up into the mix of things, and we are down to just 5 mowers right now. We do have 5 of them. Looks like number 693.5, Chris Philpott out of Hamilton's finding himself in a bad predicament as he's hung up on that other lawn mower. They've got 2 of them hooked up right now. Hopefully these guys will be able to get themselves unwedged, and there they go with a little bit of help from the 891.5. Dustin Philpott coming in there to put a hit on the side. Now we are down to just 5 vehicles left running. 5 of these tractors out there battling it out for the top 3 money-paying spots. Dustin Philpott's on the 891.5. Chris Philpott on the 693.5. Only problem is definitely got 2 lawnmowers that don't have any numbers on them. Actually, the 3 of them are out there. So we may have to wait until the lawnmower event's over to find out who we have on the track. We've got one at Track Central. I don't see a number on that one. So this is a pretty good learning experience here for any of you out there building a car or a lawnmower that you'd like your name read and get a little bit of credit out there. Make sure the numbers are brightly visible and easily readable so we can give credit where credit is due. Anyway, the 693.5, Chris Philpott coming around the bend here at a pretty good clip. Right along with the 690. So the 891.5, that's Dustin Philpott. Got 2 of them going on.
They're all right. Good luck fighting that.
So we are down to 5 lawnmowers left. Almost got one flipped up over on the side. They're getting them all packed down in the far end of the track right now. Again, that got another driver kind of favoring that left arm. Not sure what's going on. He's having a little bit of trouble running down through there. We've had a couple of them here. Hopefully everybody's doing all right out on the track. But I'll tell you, they're doing some pretty hard hitting out there. The track is coming along real quick. Even with these small tractors out there, it's kind of getting worked in real well. So I'd say by the time these cars and trucks get out on the track, this is going to end up being a very, very fast demolition derby tonight. See how things go right along. And all 5 drivers down there at the far end in one big mass. One driver on the blue tractor with the blue shirt, don't have a number on the side. He's got the grill kind of flopping out the front, kind of hobbling his way around there. He's still hanging strong, and that's a good nose-to-nose hit. The 693.5 on the offensive that time. That was Chris Philpott out of Hamilton. Again, the 891.5, Dustin Philpott out there as well. Looks like they're trying to get these guys flipped up over on their side. And they are turning their sights from one mower to the other. They're down to just about the end of things. Again, the top 3 will be going home with cash money tonight. 3 of them not doing too shabby for themselves. Again, we do have drivers here from as far away as Portland, Indiana, Kendallville, Indiana, and Milton, Kentucky. All the rest of them are from here in the Ohio area. Hey, that's 693.5. Chris Philpott, he's been doing a good job running his machine around there, making some mighty good time, keeping all four wheels on the ground. One of the few times I think the slightly wetter tracks kind of help things out. We usually have quite a few of them go up and over onto their side here. Luckily today we haven't had that really happen. And we do need to keep a close eye on things. A few of them already lost some drive belts down underneath. That definitely ruined some of the days of these drivers. See some of the steering linkages have broke. Put a few of them out. And usually something mechanical is going to go wrong. There as these guys keep punishing each other out here on the track. $891.5. Dustin Philpott looking around the backside there, seeing what's coming around. The 693.5 Chris Philpott down at the far end. He's currently being chased down and going nose to nose. Again, I wish I could tell you who the other driver was there, and doggone it, it looks like the 693.5 is out of contention. Chris Philpott drove a heck of a derby here. Not sure what went wrong. I didn't see a belt pop off, but looks like something just went a little bit south on that 693.5. We do have one of the Philpotts left. That's Dustin out there on the 891.5. So now there are four. One of them's going to have to be disqualified. We'll see which one gets knocked out of here first. And we're going to have three of them down in the money round. Again, top three spots are going to be going home with prize money today. Sounds like a few of them are starting to get a little bit knocky and pingy out there here in the late going, not running quite as strong as they were just a few moments ago. They're definitely getting chased down by some of the stronger units. But again, that 891.5, Dustin Philpott coming down into the middle of the track, and I don't think that's what Dustin wanted to see. He's kind of sitting there not able to get too much traction. The little help from that other tractor out there. That's an old John Deere. I can finally see he's got that green fenders on the back of that thing. You can see the hood doesn't quite resemble John Deere that most of us know, but he's down at the far end circling around, coming back into track central. Again, I wish I could tell you who the other drivers are out there, but from this vantage point, I've only got a number on one of them, and that's the 891.5 Dustin Philpott out of Hamilton. So we're going to have to wait till the end of the Derby and get the rundown from the track once this is over with. Looks like the Cleveland Browns fan out there is having a little bit of trouble getting that lawnmower moving. He's scooching it the best he can, but I don't think he's going to. Well, he's got a little bit of traction there. Might be getting her out toward the middle of the track. Referee's keeping an eye on it, seeing how things are going. We got two of them currently hung up. The other one's hung up on one of the disabled tractors out there in the middle of the track. The old John Deere swinging around, going to go in the side of Dustin Philpott's number 891.5. And that's a good nose-to-nose hit. We only... looks like we did have the one driver counted out on the far side over there. Again, I couldn't make a number out on that one. Not sure who we have. We are down to the final three. And the 891.5, Dustin Philpott's definitely going to be in that mix. We're going to have to find out who the other two drivers are out there. And it looks like we have one more driver been disqualified. We are going to need the driver that's exiting the track right now. We're going to need to find out his identity because he did get number 3. We're going to have to find out who's in the third place finish, and we got somebody heading down there to find out right now. We're down to Dustin Philpott in the 891.5 and an unknown driver who looks like he's getting set up to be the winner. And we don't have a number on that other tractor right now. And I think Dustin Philpott's having some serious technical difficulties on the 891.5. And they're getting some real estate in between him and that vehicle that is disabled. Down to 1 and 2. Asking how many times should I keep hitting him. Looks like he's finally got him. Looks like the 509 Brent Bird out of Hamilton is going to be the third place finisher. He was on the 509. Again, that was Brent Bird out of Hamilton. Is going to be finishing in third place today. A 1 and 2. Still waiting to be figured out here as these two drivers keep hammering it out. We do know Dustin Philpott in the 891.5. Definitely going to be one of the three. And as the final seconds tick away here, let's see, two drivers still on decently strong running vehicles. The 891.5 looks like he's having a little bit more problems. And do have a little bit of engine noise coming off there. Sounds like it's starting to miss a little bit on Dustin Philpott's number 891.5. He's getting a little bit of a shove right on down the track. They're going to keep hammering away on that slightly modified John Deere. And again, Tim, if you can hear me, once this is over, we are going to need to find out who the driver is in the gray t-shirt. He's definitely got a pretty strong running tractor out there. He's kind of circling the wagons right now. Going to take the long way around to get nosed around. And that's a pretty good hit between him and Chris Philpott. Or excuse me, Dustin Philpott on the 891. And Dustin still making his way around. He's on that 891.5. And right now a little bit of back and forth action. He wants to get a little bit of running room, get that tractor up to speed, and hopefully find Dustin a little bit sideways. Maybe try to... Looks like he's going to keep hammering away up at the business end of that tractor, trying to take out the power plant and slightly A swing and a miss. Going to get relined up. Keep hammering away right on the nose of the 891.5. And I don't think that's what he wanted to see. He's got her back in gear. Dustin's doing all right. Getting things moving. As long as he's moving and making contact, that's what it's all about. Right now, it's going to be between first and second place. And I just found out that that's the 331 Jason Pennington out of Ross, sponsored by Juggalo Inc. The 331 Jason Pennington is the other driver out there right now. He's going into the side of Dustin Philpott. And Jason Pennington continue to hammer away on the side of the 891.5. I believe this is a pretty good day for Jason. From what I understand, I believe there was supposed to be another driver on that tractor. And one thing led to another, and he ended up taking over the steering wheel and the driver's seat. It looks like he's been doing a fine job out here, getting down to the last two tractors running. See, these guys do a pretty good job modifying these things. Looks like John Deere's running strong. He's definitely got the RPMs around. Going to get a little running room here. Put some real estate between him and Dustin Philpott's number 891 and go nose to nose. And that was a good solid shot for one of these lawn mowers. One of them on the wrong end of that. Definitely going to know it. And I'll tell you, see a lot of these guys hop off of these things. They definitely take a beating out there. Get a lot of speed on these things. And when they come to a stop, they come to a quick stop. Jason Pennington taking the long way around once again. I think he's wanting to get a little bit of speed up. A little bit harder hits on here. And Dustin looking over to some possible teammates. And around the corner, the sneak attack comes. The flank coming up there by Jason Pennington out of Ross. Sponsored by Juggalo Inc. And he's continuing to barrage of hits onto the side of the 891.5. Like he's having a little bit of trouble getting that tractor moving. He's got some slightly smaller tires there. He's got some pretty good meat on him. And John Deere continuing to chase him down. Uh-oh, I think that might have hooked that front end. Hopefully nothing got loosened up on the front of Jason's number 331. Like that John Deere steering is built pretty tough. Hey folks, these little lawnmowers keep on running and keep running. Jason Pennington trying to find something. Sounds like just lost a few RPMs. I think he might have had something go south on the throttle linkage. Gonna have to keep holding her up. I think he's got her back once again. The 891.5 finding his way off to the side. I think he's on the escape route more so. Jason Pennington on the offensive, trying to chase him down. And I'll tell you, that looked like a pretty good solid hit. From the looks of it, I think they're having some technical problems with the 891. He's still keeping her moving though. He's looking down there and having a little bit of shifting problem. I think he might be having a little bit of pain come tomorrow morning. I'll tell you, these guys take a beating out there. Looks like a shifter's getting a little weak on the 891.5, but Dustin Philpott's got her back in drive as Jason Pennington coming around the corner, getting a long range nose-to-nose hit. And I'll tell you, neither one of these guys wanted to go down easy here in the lawnmower event. And another barrage of hits from the 331 of Jason Pennington out of Ross onto the side of Dustin Philpott's number 891. And I don't think that's a good sign coming out from the 891. Looks like a drive belt. Whoa, my goodness. These guys got something nose to nose and got a little bit of traction on both ends. Both of them hopped up in the air. Almost had a double flip here. Looks like that cloud of smoke didn't last very long. Whatever that was, must not have been one of the belts. Both the tractors still appear to be running fairly strong. Another puff of smoke coming out from the 891.5. Jason Pennington trying to get a little bit of running room in between there before he throws her back in drive to make contact again. Well, it appears we may have a couple of them hooked up. See if they can get these two unwedged from one another.
And it sounds like things are getting a little bit slower out there. Might have them hooked up once again.
Not exactly sure how much fuel these tractors got on board, but eventually we're going to come down and one of them is going to have something go on with it. If you guys were wanting to have the drivers meeting anytime, there it is right there. Looks like your number one has been decided. It's going to be Jason Pennington on the 331 in first place. Second place, Dustin Philpott on the 891 and a half. We are going to need to have the drivers meeting. Drivers meeting will be coming up. The lawnmowers are done. So down there. So if he would like to go ahead. We're ready to bring them on to the track. The big cars are coming in first. As you can see, the track is worked in pretty well, so I'd say that's going to be a pretty fast-moving track here in the early going. So let's bring them on down, drivers. Time to bring them on down to the track. A large car event number one. If you're in the big car heat number one, let's bring them on down and get this party started. I got the Chucko 484. He's here out of Milford Center, sponsored by Clark Motorsports. Now, if you are down in the infield, please watch your backs. We do have a lot of vehicles slip sliding around, moving in and out. So please keep a close eye on that. Looks like the 00, Josh Henry out of St. Paris, is going to be the next one onto the track. He's sponsored by St. Paris Marathon. The number 727, Tim Seitz, is here out of Kenton. The number 522, Ryan Ruck out of Wapakoneta, sponsored by G.A. Windsor and Sons. The number 15, Chad Cole out of Botkins, Ohio. The number 527, Trace Braun out of Salina. His sponsor is his wife, Kelly. Levi Deems in the number 36. He's here out of Kendallville, Indiana, sponsored by Deem Construction. Jason Taylor is on the track in the number 400 out of Willowwood, Ohio. Following him is the number 222, Trey Nichols out of Urbana. And finally, Nick Catalone in the number 628 out of Chesapeake. And that is all of the vehicles in Heat 1. 3, 2, 1, let them go. And the action's underway here at the Smash It Demolition Derby Extreme Destruction event in the large car heat number 1. Looks like the field has split in half. Half of them coming down toward the announcer stand, half of them hoarding down to the other end. It looks like Chucko's here side by side. Everybody kind of taking her ever so gingerly. Chucko right here in the front row, side by side with Josh Henry in the 00. Over onto the other side of him is the number 522, Ryan Ruck out of Wapakoneta, and sandwiched in the middle is the number 727 of Tim Sight out of Kenton. Down at the far end, we have Levi Deem out of Kendallville, Indiana. He's down there next to the 400 of Jason Taylor out of Willowwood, Ohio. Everybody looking around. Again, we are going to be taking the top 5. Last 5 running. We'll be moving on to the big money round tonight. Now, the big money round will pay $8,000 to win it. We'll pay $8 grand. Going to be taken away by somebody tonight. So that's a pretty good paycheck for a little bit of work here. Now, granted, these drivers do have quite a bit of time invested in these vehicles. We'll look at the number 522 going down the track at a pretty good clip. That's Ryan Ruck out of Walpock into the side of Chucko 484. And down at the far ends, Spinning around, doing a little bit of a J slide is Trey Nichols out of Urbana in the 222. He's going nose to nose with the number 36 of Levi Deeb out of Kendallville. And the number 527, that's Trace Braun out of Salina, getting his machine jockeyed around with a little bit of style and flair, coming back to this near end of the track at a fairly high rate of speed. Looks like he's going to go back into Chucko. The 222 is currently sandwiched into the side of the number 36. That was Trey Nichols in the 222 and Levi Deeb out of Kendallville, Indiana. The 522 right in front of the announcer stand, that's Ryan Ruck. Side by side with the 727 of Tim Seitz out of Kent. Seven of Trace Braun out of Salina. He's kind of nosed into the number 727 out of. Looks like the 527. Chad Cole out of Botkins. Still running pretty strong. These large cars is pretty deafening right now. The 527 running strong. Trace Braun into the side of the 727 of Tim Seitz right down here in front of the announcer stand. Chucko in the 484 side by side with the 522 over Ryan Ruck out of Walpock. His sponsor is G.A. Windsor and Son, Chad Cole. Chad Cole right in the middle of the mix in the number 15. Also have the number 400 of Jason Taylor out of Willowwood, Ohio. This is pretty strong. You have a little bit of flamage over there, nothing to be excited about. The number 36, that's Levi Deeb out of Kendallville, Indiana. Just got a little bit of extra fuel. Burns a little rich in the number 36. They do have a little bit of steam also coming out there. Looks like he has a lot right here. We do have one of the referees down there in close proximity. Close eye on things. Looks like they're going to be. They're keeping a pretty close eye on the firemen are ready to respond. Yeah, those flames are just coming out. Oh. Like the number 36 is having a little bit of trouble. That's Levi. He had that flame job coming out of the backs of that machine. That looked like he was able to kind of taking himself out. We do have a vehicle currently down right now. Referees keeping the cars moving right now. 15 of Chad Cole in that bright red and white machine. He's going up to the number 527 of Trace Braun, who's here out of Salina. He's side by side with the number 727 of Tim Seitz. It sounds like they unleashed the horses on that 527. Sounds like he's got a real strong running engine under the hood of that machine. Also have Josh Henry in the 00. He's side by side with Chucko right now. A little bit of a chess match. 522 of Ryan Ruck out of Walpox. Taking a look around to see what he's got now. Looks like the driver's door of the 00 was right in line with his line of travel, but he did stop. Now the driver's door is one area that these guys are not able to make contact with. Any deliberate contact with the driver's door is a safety problem. That's the one safety zone that these guys have, so they make sure they keep a pretty close eye on that driver's door. Hit 222s coming around right now. Trey Nichols out of Urbana, kind of making a breakaway here. Heading into the 727, kind of giving Tim Seitz a little bit of a shove, spinning him around. Tim's going to head kind of back toward the middle of the track, do a little bit of a donut and head down toward the far end. He's going to be chased down, though, by That's going to be the number 628 of Nick Catalona out of Chesapeake. Got that heavy metal car. Going to spin her around and head down to the far end of the track. Put a little bit of running room between him and the number 522 of Ryan Ruck out of Walmart. Again, only one of them currently counted out at this moment in time. The Levi Dean out of Kendallville, Indiana, had a little bit of a rough way to go. Wasn't able to get the 36. Hopefully we'll see him back here in the consolation event, which will be coming up a little later on this evening. Looks like everybody's kind of stacking them up right in the middle of the track. The 628 looks like he's coming down trying to get his machine refired. Nick Catalona out of Chesapeake. Got a little bit of movement. Number 15 coming in the line of fire right there. Chad Cole pushed in. Looks like the 527 of Trace Braun has quite a bit of steam belching out from that machine right now. Looks like it's going to be getting a little bit on the warm side out of Trace's number 527. Chad Cole taking a look inside. He's over next to the 727 of Tim Seitz out of Kenton. And it looks like a 628 of Nick Catalona has got his machine going once again and back in the action right now. He's over there next to the 00. A little bit of a shove into the side, stacking him directly next to the 522 of Ryan Ruck. Now, 222, Trey Nichols out of Urbana, going to come back into the nose of the 628. Got a little bit of a drive. Chucko down the far end of the track being chased down by Nick Catalona out of Chesapeake. Going back to back and bumper to bumper here. Extreme destruction event. Still doing pretty well. Again, we are going to be taking the top 5 cars. Top 5 cars running. We'll be moving on into the feature event tonight. Those that do not make it may have a second chance at the big money round if and only if they are able to get their vehicles going before they make the call. Here comes the number 400, Jason Taylor, out of Willowwood, Ohio. Kind of hanging front end of that machine right now. Currently got the number 222 of Trey Nichols out of Urbana right next to it. Got the number 727 wagon around the number 527 Frank Braun out of Salida. The 400 of Jason Taylor side to side with us right now. He's here out of Willowwood, Ohio. Chucko in the 484 still very much in the mix of things. And I'll tell you, the number 527 Trace Braun still spewing out quite a bit of steam out of that machine. Looks like the overflow out the steam. He's got quite a bit of pressure built up under that. Main thing is you keep it running, making contact, and that's what it's all about. Nick Catalona, number 628, coming right at us next to the 00 of Josh Henry out of St. Paris. Chucko going into the side, the number 5, 22 out of Boston. Got another little battle going on at the far end. That's the 400 of Jason Taylor and the number 727 of Tim Syke out of Kent. These guys are going to go another hit there. The 727 is going to get spun around pretty quick, like courtesy of the number 400 Jason Taylor. The number 222 Trey Nichols here out of Savannah. He's currently right next to Ryan Ruck in the 522. Chucko waiting for the vehicle to kind of move out of the way. They make their way down the inside of the number 628. 6 Catalona out of Chesapeake. Nick's going to get shoved into the concrete barricade, courtesy of Chad Cole out of Watkins here, number 15. Looks like we still have all of them running again, except that. Early issue. A little bit of flame coming out of there. Like that, running just a little bit on the rich side. There we go. Hopefully Levi Dean's going to be able to get his see him back here in event just a little bit later. Trace Braun in the 527. He's having problems right now. We do have technical difficulties with Jason Taylor in the 400. Looks like he's currently up. He's got her going. And the wheels are spinning. Making contact. And here we got the 522 of Ryan Ruck out of Wapakoneta making the breakaway. He's going to go down and break them wide open. The 222 taking the brunt of that hit. The Trey Nichols out of Urbana. Number 15 of Chad Cole in a little bit of a shoving match. They're back-to-back with Chucko in the 484. Number 628 of Nick Catalona out of Chesapeake. Watch the driver's board on Chucko's machine as he goes around there. And the 522, Ryan Ruck coming down at this end. Going to spin her around and use his nose as he goes in through that mass of metal right at track central. Chucko's getting a little bit low, sinking into the track. He's digging in. 628 of Nick Catalona out of Chesapeake. In the top 5, the last 5 runner will be moving on to the feature event. The number 15, Chad Cole, just making contact on Nick Catalona. Down there in that 628. Here comes the 527 of Trace Braun. Looks like lost most of that coolant out of that thing. Stop smoking. Uh-oh. I think we got a little bit of a technical problem here because that's the number 400 currently hung up on those concrete barricades. And Jason Taylor out of Willow looks like he may have had his time in the big car heat number 1 come to a pretty quick halt. Maybe down to just the whole field except 2 of them still running. These guys slowly coming off the pack here. I'm not sure what's going on with that 527, but Trace Braun, he's had a lot of steam, and then it kind of disappears. He's got some more steam. Kind of the same thing here happened to Josh Henry's double O. Josh Henry just taking a pretty good thing from the 527, his way down through the track. Chad Cole at 15, now the track central. He's keeping pretty close proximity to the number 527 of Trace Braun. Looks like we do have the number 400, Jason Taylor exiting his machine right now. Hope to see him back here. That's bad luck. Got that front bumper popped up on top of that concrete barricade, and as we've seen time and time again, those barricades get anchored in pretty solid. Get up there. That's the beginning of the end. But again, looks like he's got a pretty decent car left there. Get back here in consolation of him. Another chance of getting that money ran. Battling it out with that $8,000. Plays the prize. 22. Ray Nichols taking a little bit of a look, going down to the 480 Chucko, and look at a 527 go. Trace Braun going down into the side of Chucko. And nurse of the number 15. That's Chad Cole going back-to-back and bumper-to-bumper with Josh Henry in that double zero. And look at the steam starting to belt out of the double zero, coming out a little bit harder. Looks like he must have knocked the life out of Josh Henry's double O. Looks like the referees have him on the time clock right now. Eye on things. Here on the late running. Trace Braun in a 527. Kind of had her hammered down there. Right now, nose into the number 522 of Ryan Ruck out of Wapakoneta. Like we are down to about movement out of 7 of them, I think. Quite possibly. I think we got the double O out there. I'm not sure if he's still on the timer. Josh Henry, referee standing right next to him, keeping an eye on things, see how that pans out for Josh. Again, they do have 1 minute to refire their machines and make contact. And it looks like 527. Trace Braun going out there to mix it up with the 222 of Ray Nichols out of Urbana. Chucko going to come down the track, sliding down the length of that's Trace Braun, number 527. The 628 still running strong. Nick Catalona out of Chesapeake. He's going to take him. Trey Nichols bump around the side. Once again, we are going to be taking 5 vehicles. We are down to 6 of them. Out of contention right now. He's taking his time out for 400. Jason Taylor has run bad luck, as did the number 36 of Levi Deem. Again, hoping to see these guys back in the consolation event. Hoping we'll get the vehicles running. And shot. Big money feature event. Slowly but surely, they are dropping out here in heat number 1 of the large car event. See how things pan out. Looks like 520. Ryan Ruck out of Wapakoneta coming down here inside Chad Cole. Taking a look outside Trace Braun to get lined up. Head back down and the 222 Ray Nichols out of Urbana. Chucko just taking a hit. Nick Catalona, Chesapeake. And all the action migrating down the far end of the track. Trace Braun making a little bit of a breakaway move. Down there and put a nose shot into his machine to make contact with Ray Nichols in the 522. Looks like these guys have a little bit of a grudge match going on. Once again, we did see a little bit of that turbulence off the 527. Nose into Chucko's number 484. Here comes the 7 Tim Sight out of Kent. Like 222, stepping up a bit. Trey Nichols. Hammer in, number 5, 7, Trace Braun. The Trace, he's been having a little bit of overheating issues. We can still see some steam coming off that machine. I don't know how he's left in that way that thing's been going. Steam for quite some time. It looks like now he's got a little bit of vehicles. Taking the top 5. Top 5 will be moving on to the field. Nose to nose. Nick Catalona. That's 628. Chucko flanked off to the side. Number 5, 27, Trace Braun. 22, Trey Nichols. Flying high. Not exactly sure who gave that off, but vehicles went smashing through that wild mess. Sparks just flew sky high at Track Central. Tim Sights in the 727. Down the far end as well. Bit of a grudge match. 527 Trace Braun currently chasing down Trey Nichols in the 222. These guys have been mixing it up quite a bit tonight. Chucko in the 484. 28 Nick Catalona, and finally coming to rest on the 522. And 15. And the red light machine going back to back with Chucko in the 484. Trace Braun in the 527 mix. 22 Trey Nichols. And Cole going back in the 3 of them side by side. .222 Trey Nichols going back and unleashing hits himself. Working on Trace Braun in the 527 and shoving him down toward the concrete barricade. Looks like he did knock the life out of the 527. Do have some steam and smoke coming out of it. Looks like these guys are down at the far end apparently. And I think he just may have hung up the number 527 Trace Braun. He's got him down there toward that concrete barricade. Kind of poured off of the 527. Looks like he was able to get her on the hump with the 222. Continuing to hammer away. Hold him up. Hold him up, drivers. Hold
hold him up. Get the action back underway. Smoke's starting to pour off a few of these. Ryan Ruck in the 522 got some puffs of smoke coming out of his car as he goes after the number 727 of Tim Seitz. Got the 222 of Trey Nichols still mixing it up down there with Trace Braun in the 527. These guys have been seeing a lot of each other here. Heat number 1, Chucko in the 484 going back to back with the 628 of Nick Catalona out of Chesapeake, who's side by side with Chad number 15 automobile. We're going to see how this pans out. We got a couple of them really pumping a lot of smoke out. Black automobiles. That's 522 of Ryan Ruck making his way around here. These guys, some of the cars really been kind of having a bit of a grudge match, getting that Trace Braun in the 527 and that 222 of Trey Nichols. These guys been putting on one another for quite a while now. Chad Cole in the 15 back to back. Nick Catalona and that 628. These guys been going at it a pretty good time here. We're going to be taking it down to the last 5 running. Last 5 running. We'll move on, and once again, what do you know? More steam off of 527 Trace Braun. The car is definitely getting a little bit warm out there in the late going of large car heat number 1. Still going along here. Dropping off only 3 of them, surprising. But again, that 522 Ryan Ruck still pumping out smoke cloud out of the exhaust as he gets his machine jockeying around, turns around, and heads down toward Chucko. And the 484 is going to follow him down right in behind Chad Wilson. 222 Trey Nichols. He's repaying a favor. 527. Fairly close proximity to the driver's door, but he is in front of it. That's the main thing. Again, allowed to hit the driver's side. It's not contact directly at the driver's area. These guys still going at it. Looks like the 527 Trace Braun got it rolling again. I think it momentarily stalled out. The 522 of Ryan Ruck on the timer right now. They do have 1 minute to get their vehicle free fire and make contact. Referees keep a close eye on things here. And we do have a lot of money being paid out tonight. Driver's meeting, they did lay everything out. Got a 1 minute time frame. Still got a lot of smoke pumping out. Trace Braun, he's still got her running strong though. Getting off that smoke, he revved it up. Steam blows out there a little bit stronger. But there goes the 522. Looks like Ryan Ruck's time ran out. He's here from Wapakoneta. We have another one currently on the clock right now. Looks like he's got to refired. That was Trace Braun in the 527. He's got to pop around there. He really had a rough first heat here. He's been battling it out pretty hard and heavy. 222 Trey Nichols. These guys got things moving along early on. Trey back after that front fender right there on the driver's side. That engine compartment trying to take out the power plant on Trace Braun. Definitely great here out of Salina. And he's sponsored by his wife Kelly. Looks like we have a pretty good running car to take him this far in heat number 1. We'll see how things pan out. Hold him up, hold him up. Looks like the red flags are flying. Hope. Say Chucko's in it.
Okay, folks, that is going to be it. It has been decided. There's your 5 that are moving on into the feature event. It's going to be the number 15 of Chad Cole out of Botkins, the number 222 Trey Nichols out of Urbana, Nick Catalona's in the 628 out of Chesapeake, Tim Seitz is in the 727 out of Kenton, and Shucko out of Milford Center, sponsored by Clark Motorsports. So Trace was the last one. Going to be the 917 of Anthony Long out of Raymond, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. The number 57 Scott Piper out of Salina, sponsored by everybody. Nita Steve. The 218X Seth Gibson out of Bell Fountain, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. The number 131's out there, Joey Braun out of Salina. Looks like that's the number 32, I believe. John Deem out of Kendallville, Indiana, sponsored by Deem Construction.
There's your rundown, Jeff Rush.
Here comes Ed Taylor in the 18X. He's here out of Oak Harbor. Number 413, Joseph Phillips, also out of Oak Harbor, sponsored by Jim Phillips Excavating. Mark Elliott's in the 527 out of Eaton, sponsored by Top Dog Promotion. Brian Hauer is here out of West Portsmouth, Ohio, sponsored by McIntyre Communications. The 422, Toby Hiley out of Beaver Creek, sponsored by Unfinished Business. The number 26, JT Hildebrand out of Urbana. The number 11, Steve Neese out of Pandora, which means that the 429, Terry Trimmer out of St. Paris, was the second one that came onto the track. He kind of snuck in there and got parked before we figured out what number was in there. Go, the action's underway here at the Smash It, Crash It, Tear 'em Up Automobile Demolition Derby, heat number 2 of the large cars here at our Extreme Destruction event. Right now, the number 917 of Anthony Long out of Raymond, right in the middle of all the mix here as the car into the track, parked side to side next to the 131 of Joey Braun out of Salina. The 18X of Ed Taylor out of Oak Harbor getting spun around, courtesy of 218X. That's Seth Gibson. He's here out of Bell Fountain, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. 623, excuse me, the 823 of Ben Hauer. Running the track side right next to the horse track, kind of getting spun around in that 823, sitting sideways. The 131, Joey Braun out of Salinas right there. Make sure he knows what's going on. But Mark Elliott in that black heading down there. I love the 422 coming up close behind. That's Toby Hiley out of Beaver Creek. Getting spun around by the number 413 of Joseph Phillips out of Oak Harbor. Terry Trimmer's here in the 429. He's sitting right in behind the 823 of Ben Hauer. He's got to make it break away. Already pulling away, leaving the 429 of Terry Trimmer.
with nothing but a whole lot of real estate and opportunity to choose his next victim. And that he does. Here comes the number 32. John Deem out of Kendallville, Indiana, in that yellowish tan station wagon. Seth Gibson in the 218X. Down here next to Terry Trimmer in the 429. Ed Taylor's in the 18X. Folks, at number 32, he's a little bit a ways from home. He's out of Kendallville, Indiana. He's the only non-Ohio driver out here in this particular event, but he's got the hammer down. He was trying to get back there to Seth Gibson in the 218X. And it looks like he was able to make contact with the 429 of Terry Trimmer out of St. Paris, and doggone it, looks like they may have knocked the life out of the number 32 of John Deem. He's sponsored by Deem Construction. Oh no, already it looks like he did take something. Definitely happened to that number 32 of vehicle. We do appreciate John Deem coming out here. Extreme Destruction event all the way out of Kendallville, Indiana. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, and we may just see him back here in the consolation event, which will be coming up here a little bit later on in tonight's rundown. Looks like the 527 of Mark Elliott did slow up just before making contact with Joseph Phillips, driver's door at 413. Got a pretty strong running automobile here. He's just can't quite make the number out. My goodness, that 18X came down the track. That's Ed Taylor. He wasn't wasting any time. I believe that's Steve Neese in the number 11. You got those two big silver pipes sticking up out of that machine, and I believe that is the number 11. Can't quite make it out for 100% sure. The 917, Anthony Long, trying to get himself jockeyed around. He's over there with Brian Hauer in the number 823. Looks like the mass migration is taking place. Everybody moving down here right in front of the announcer stand. Now look, he's all by himself down there. Seth Gibson getting jockeyed around, but coming in pretty close. It's the number 413 of Joseph Phillips. 18X of Ed Taylor. Making some earlier hard hits. Right now the 429, Terry Trimmer. There, he's finally got a little bit of place to go as the number 11 pulls away. It looks like a lot of stuff kind of flying out onto the track as the mud gets kicked around. He's got getting a little bit of traction out there. Still only down to one driver, number 32, John Deem, the only one that's currently out of contention. Again, trying to get to the last five. It'll be going into the big money round. And that's going to pay $8,000 to win. Second place, a very respectable $4,000 tonight. Here comes the 422. Toby Hiley out of Beaver Creek. Zipping his way down the track right now. JT Hildebrand is in that number 26. JT Hildebrand's right at track central right now, next to the 131 of Joey Braun. Hold him up, drivers, hold him up, hold him up. Hold them up, drivers. Let's hold them up.
Number 26, showing some movement, track central. That's JT Hildebrand out of Urbana. Going into him, Steve Neese out of Pandora, sponsored by Smoking Hot. Brian Howard's the number 823. 413, Joseph Phillips giving a little shove around the track, courtesy of Mark Elliott, the number 527. Toby Hiley in the 422, working in the middle of the track pretty well. The 429, Terry Trimmer. Try to find his next victim. Stacking them up, making some good contact, going down the far end next to Ed Taylor in the 18X. JT Hildebrand and the number 26 making the breakaway right now, looking for his next victim. The nose of the 422 popping out, Toby Hiley out of Beaver Creek. And Mark Elliott in that 527. The number 27. Best as I can tell. That's a 57. Scott Piper. See, he's the one that lost his axle and rim out there. He was moving her around pretty good, even though the frame was kind of dragging the ground. He's still got her moving pretty well. Scott Piper. He's kind of down at track central right now, next to number 628, I believe it is. The 823, Brian Howard. And I do believe I found out what happened to John Deem. Like that might be his drive shaft, kind of flopped off into the dirt. Sitting right next to the old yellow station wagon. He did come back, make some pretty good contact, pretty high rate of speed, but the last hit that he did make, 18X coming back into the mix of things. That's Ed Taylor out of Oak Harbor. He's going to come down at the far end of the track, take a swing around, make a shot into the side. Number 413, Seth Gibson, making a grand entrance into the side of the number 413. Joseph Phillips on the receiving end of a pretty good hit from Seth Gibson. Like these guys are going to do it once again. The 57. Looks like he's kind of got anchored down to the track this time. That's Scott Piper out of Salina. And it looks like the luck ran out on the one-wheeled Bandit. Like a 57 just taking himself out of contention. John Dean getting shoved around here to a little bit better spot. Got a couple of them dancing around there. That's Joey Braun at a 131, kind of doing the elementor left with the number 18X. Ed Taylor. Those guys kind of doing a bit of a donut dance down at the far end of the track. 18 making a breakaway, and there goes a radiator off of the number 413 of Joseph Phillips. He's down from Oak Harbor. Making a bit of a run, leaving most of his coolant down on the track. See it following him away. He's down underneath that big cloud of steam. The main thing is he's still running strong. 429. Terry Trimmer getting a pretty good run. He goes back, finally making contact with the number 131. Joey Braun out of Salina. Down at track 527. Mark Elliott out of Eaton. Sponsored by Top Dog Promotion. Running in the middle, coming into the mix of thing is the number 218X Seth Gibson out of Bell Fountain, sponsored by Kirby Auto Parts. Toby Hiley's here in the 422 out of Beaver Creek. Mixing it up right now with the 18X of Ed Taylor. Looks like Ed's kind of getting a little bit low on the passenger side. He's definitely lost the right rear and possibly the right front. Definitely sitting a little bit lower on the passenger side of the number 18X. Seth Gibson in the 218X going into the side of the number 413 of Joseph Phillips. Down at the far end, Anthony Long's in the 917, trucking her down, kind of lining up. He's going to be taking a hit inside. I'm not quite sure. I think that is the number 11 of Steve Neese out of Pandora, making his way in there. The number 26 of JT Hildebrand coming back. He's going to put a light shot on the number 11 of Steve Neese. Chasing him down. He's nosed in the 429 of Terry Trimmer out of St. Paris. Like Terry Trimmer and the number 429 getting a little bit of tranny slippage. And it looks like the transmission did go out of the number 429 and his night is complete. That's Terry Trimmer out of St. Paris. Drove a good heat here. Looks like a couple of them that are out. JT Hildebrand in the number 26. Making a lot of noise down there as he's kind of nosing into the side of the number 18X of Ed Taylor. Seth Gibson in the 218X. Like 527 of Mark Elliott. A little bit of a ride on the 917 of Anthony Long. Those two kind of got hung up momentarily. Didn't last too long. And we've got one down in the corner pretty tight. That's the 18X of Ed Taylor out of Oak Harbor. Like he might be popped up on top of the concrete barricade. Got a whole lot of smoke going on down there. I know he was having a little bit of trouble with the passenger side tires. I'm definitely seeing a few of them slowing up. We do have about 8 vehicles left still in the running. Again, we are going to take it down to the last 5. About 8 vehicles left here. The later going of large car event number 2. Like a number 26 trying to make contact with the 413. That's 131. Joey Braun. The last one making contact. And the number 11 here, Steve Neese. Barely tapping the number 26. 413, kicking her into high gear, making a little bit of contact. That was Joseph Phillip out of Oak Harbor. Braun in the 131. JT Hildebrand in the number 26. I think he's coming out here, deciding which way he's going to go right now, and it looks like he's going to barely slide his way into this, not making some very hard hits. A little bit of a chess game going on. A lot of driving, not a whole lot of hitting right now. Pop things into the higher gear. Anthony Long in the 917 had a note into the side of the number 26, JT Hildebrand. Jeff Gibson in the 218X taking a look around. The next one looks like he's going to go down into the number 11 of Steve Neese out of Pandora. Steve sponsor tonight is Smoking the Hot. Here comes the number 527. And that's exactly what we need to see out of here out of Mark Elliott. Back into the number 917 of Anthony Long. Pretty good hit right now. Number 26. Pushing his way around. He'll be looking right into cockpit of Anthony Long's number 917. good hit out of the number 11. Going into the nose of Anthony Long's 917. Like the 131 is going to slow up just a bit. Joey Braun, he was sitting there with his radiator looking at a whole bunch of metal heading his way. The number 11, Steve Neese, out of Pandora, coming down to put a pretty good hit on the number 917 of Anthony Long. He's currently mixing it up to 422 of Toby Hiley out of Beaver Creek. And the number 11's getting hot now. That's Steve Neese sitting under that cloud of steam. He's right next door to the 413 of Joseph Phillips out of Oak Harbor. The 527 of Mark Elliott spinning her around. Looks like he's going to be taking off this time, making contact with the Anthony Long in the 917. Number 11 definitely got the hammer down. He's going after the number 917. And everybody's definitely kind of stacked up right down towards the far end of the track. The number 11 in that cloud of steam still. Steve Neese out of Pandora. Going to take a tap from the 18X sept Gibson. Mark Elliott in the 527 coming around. These cars definitely starting to get hot out here. These guys finally realize it. Trying to make a bit of contact down here. I'd say we got a little bit of a Toby Hiley's making his way around the corner. Going to be pushing side of the 527. That's Mark Elliott. In comes the 26 JT Hildebrand. Going to be looking around. Looks like this time he's going to go after 218X and sept Gibson. Looks like a number 11. Definitely having some technical difficulties. We saw that the number 11 had quite a bit of steam rolling out from that machine. I think he was working it for all she had. And Right now, I'd say he is on the timer. See how that works out for Steve Neese. He's here out of Pandora. His sponsor is Smoking Hot. It looks like his car is steaming hot right now. That works out the 917 of Anthony Long. Things are starting to look up as we got 6 vehicles, so we're down to just one more going to be taking the disqualification route. Movement out of 6 vehicles, including the 917 of Anthony Long. Number 26 is JT Hildebrand. Seth Gibson in the 218X. 131, Joey Braun out of Salina. His sponsor is Midwest Logistics. The 422, Toby Hiley. He's here out of Beaver Creek, sponsored by Unfinished Business. And finally, Mark Elliott in the number 527. Going to be the 6th vehicle still left running. One of those drivers is going to have to be disqualified. The other 5 are going to move on to the big money round. Okay, hold him up. We got us a fireman of Tony Long. You did say the 422, right? Okay, looks like we do have the 5 vehicles that are qualified. Those 5 are going to be the number 26 JT Hildebrand, the 218X Seth Gibson, Toby Hiley in the 422, the 131 of Joey Braun, and the 527 of Mark Elliott. All going to be moving on into the feature event. We'll see those back there. Now, once again, drivers, we are going to be offering a consolation event. In the number 556. He's here out of Pemberton, sponsored by Hellman's Auto. Following him is going to be the number 37H, Justin Pope out of DeGraff, sponsored by Pope Motorsports. The 812, Treg Drexler out of Wapakoneta, sponsored by TNT Landscaping. The number 386, Scott Andrew out of Salina, sponsored by A&S Tree Service. And the number 326, Ethan Pope out of DeGraff, sponsored by Frog Motorsports. 3, 2, 1, let them go, and the stock heat is now underway. Now what we're going to be doing here, folks, we are going to be taking it down into first and second place. We're going to be playing 2 spots in the stock heat. It's going to be $200 to win. And 100 for second. Now that was a pretty good hit here in the early going to the stock class. That was Treg Drexler out of Wapakoneta in that red, white, and blue. And I'll tell you, these guys got a whole lot of room. I'll tell you, luckily, folks, it's a good thing that these referees are finely tuned athletic specimens, because they had to get out of the way in a big darn hurry when that number 37H of Justin Pope came up there. The referee had his running shoes on, and he did a fine job getting out of the way in a big hurry. Right now, the number 386, Scott Andrews down here. We've got three of them kind of mixing it up right now. That was Ethan Pope in the 326 down at the far end. I believe he's without a drive shaft, folks, so we are already down to three. Now, what we're going to be doing again is running first and second place. We do have the number 812 of Treg Drexler right down here in front of the announcer's stand. He's going to be taking a shot from the 386 of Scott Andrew out of Salina. They're stacking them up three deep. The 556 of Jeff Elson out of Pemberton is there in that bright red machine. Sandwiched in the middle in the number 812 is Treg Drexler. And in the number 386 yellow machine, Scott Andrew out of Salina, sponsored by A&S Tree Service. These guys got a whole lot of running room, taking advantage of that, and definitely putting some good hits on early going in this stock car event. Now, I'll tell you, folks, that number 386, Scott Andrews, throwing caution to the wind. He's kind of sliding her around and going to head back down the track yet again, using the nose of his machine as a battering ram to make contact on the 812 of Treg Drexler. Onto the side is the 556 of Jeff Elson out of Pemberton, sponsored by Hellman's Auto. We got a couple of them, looks like they may be hooked up. That's Treg Drexler in the 386 of Scott Andrew. And the 556 not quite able to make that turn as fast as he would have liked to do. That's Jeff Elson out of Pemberton trying to get a look around. Those other two drivers making pretty good time making their way down through there. It looks like they're hooked up pretty solid like. I think the 556 would definitely like to make contact. The problem is he's just not able to catch him there too well, but I think this time he's going to do that, and he's going to use the nose of his machine to go down there to make contact with the number 386. I don't think he liked using the nose. He's going to turn the 556 around, try to take a little bit different look. And I'll tell you, folks, that was a good hit by Jeff Elson in the 556. Almost got those two cars popped apart. And I think they've just about got them unhooked, and that's ought to do it. That's got them. We got them unhooked right now. All three of them are back on loose once again. The 812 of Treg Drexler had the 386 stuck to it like glue. That was Scott Andrew out of Salina. A little bit of a swing and a miss, and I'll tell you, he went right back to the same exact spot, folks, hopefully. I don't know if I would have necessarily hit that automobile in the same exact spot I was hung up on, but might have been a method to it. Looks like he's got a little bit of rubbish on that front fan. Looks like the fan's probably grinding away on something up inside of Scott Andrews' number 386. Got a whole lot of sparkage going on, but the 5.56 of Jeff Elson out of Pemberton. They're trying to get unwedged. The 386 has got a little bit of wiggle room right now. The problem is he's trying to slingshot the 386 off of it. I think the 5.56, Jeff Elson, going to give a little bit of a tap to make contact, and that's about it. There, they got him popped loose once again, and hopefully the 386 might just shy away from that right rear. He's going to take a little different approach and alter the angle of attack just ever so slightly to make sure he doesn't get hung back up on that right rear of Treg Drexler's number 812. Again, Treg is here out of Wapakoneta, sponsored by TNT Landscaping. I'll tell you folks, the 386 looks like it's getting a little bit on the warm side already. He's been using the nose of that yellow machine quite a bit. Scott Andrew in the 386. He's got a lot of pressure built up under the hood of that yellow machine. He's got a regular pressure cooker going on right now, folks. But he's still got her cut loose and able to move, and that's the main thing, as long as he's able to make contact and keep her going. Got a lot of spinach right now, and I'll tell you that just about out of any of the coolant that might have been in that radiator in the 386. We'll see how things pan out. He's got a pretty strong running car. But once these things start to get hot like they do, it might just be the beginning of the end. And doggone it, things really slowing up for Scott Andrew on the 386. And I guess the 556 didn't learn from the yellow car. They making contact. I think I'd tend to shy away from that right rear of the 812 because it looks like Treg Drexler's right rear side has definitely got a hook up under it. Get these two caught. There, they got them. A little bit of running room, time and opportunity. And that's going to definitely pack the 812 a little bit tighter. Treg Drexler taking a heck of a hit. And that 812 getting shorter and shorter with every hit from the 556 of Jeff Elson. I'll tell you folks, the number 386, Scott that 386 is definitely a hot ride right now. You can hear that thing just blowing off the pressure. Scott Andrew drove one heck of a good run in the number 386. Just looked like Definitely got way overheated. We hate to see them go out like this, but they are down to just 2 of them. First place, second place, going to be paying money out today. Again, 200 for first, 100 for second. Looks like it's going to be down between Jeff Elson and the 556. He's here out of Pemberton. And of course, Craig Drexler in the number 812, who's here out of Wapakoneta, sponsored by TNT Landscaping. And I'll tell you, the 556 just popped up in the air. They're going to have to keep a close eye on Craig Drexler's number 812. Make sure nothing gets too close to that gas tank.
I'm throwing cars out. I got to throw everything out here.
The referees are keeping a close eye. You can see how that rear end of the number 812 is getting folded up in there.
Right in the back? Yeah, okay.
Just want to make sure that the gas tank is safe and secure. Down to number 1 versus number 2 here. Which one's it going to be, folks? Is it going to be Jeff Elson in the 556 or Craig Drexler in the 812? Referees tell them to get a little bit of space in there and start making some contact. Switch gears. Jeff Elson's using the nose of the 556. Gonna unload a couple hits onto Craig Drexler. Looks like they might be pushing the 812 up against concrete barricade. It didn't take him long to throw her in drive and get on out of there, because that's definitely not where Craig Drexler wants to end up in the number 812. The 556 of Jeff Elson, nose to nose. Drivers looking at one another, knowing it's going to come down between one of those two. Well, which one's going to have the most left in it? Which one's going to have to be disqualified? Got a little bit of running room, and this is going to be it, folks. Look at that. I'll tell you, one hit really did some damage, and there goes the flag from the doorpost of the 812, which means Craig Drexler is going to settle for second. Okay, looks like the number 316 is the first one down here. That's Ben Hauer out of Walpock, sponsored by DJ Salvage. The number M80. Jeff Miller out of Walpock. The number 327. Carter Smith out of Patriot. The number 11X. Tony Miller out of Gloucester. I believe that was the number 87 with the first one on the track. Chris Anderson out of Walpock. Number 45R. E.J. Heron out of Waynesfield, sponsored by Rex's Auto Care. The number 69R. Kyle Roberts out of McClure. Okay, number 07, Jacob Gordon out of Delphos, sponsored by Cutting Edge Show Pigs. Got a little bit of a story I'll tell you here in a minute about that number 07 car. Got 707 Todd Pfeiffer out of Kenton. Looks like the number 48, Bill Black out of Salina, moved over to the right. Couldn't make out the number. The number 50. 9X Dwayne Sprague out of Buckland. The number 90 Tommy Goings. Mike Widener's in the 516 and Chris Anderson in the 87. Ricky Hutchinson. Oh, let him go, and it looks like the Buzz Bomb class is now underway. The number 59X is the first one to make contact. And I'll tell you, hold him up, hold him up, hold him up. Drop it and let him go, which is what they're exactly going to be doing. The number 59X. Dwayne Sprague out of Buckland. He's doing a pretty good job out there. I'll tell you, he's been getting it on. The number 48, doing a heck of a good job himself. That's Bill Black out of Salina. Here comes the 87. It's Chris Anderson out of Wapakoneta. Around in the corner is going to be the number 90, Tommy Goings out of St. Paris. Down at the far end, we do have the red, white, and blue number 45R, E.J. Heron out of Waynesfield, sponsored by Rex's Auto Care. The number 13 of Ricky Hutchinson out of Herod, Ohio, is down at this end. And I'll tell you, the 59X, Dwayne Sprague, is throwing caution to the wind. He's really tearing them up out there. Going down at one end, heading on down to the other. He's putting on one heck of a good show, folks. Speaking of that, the number 48, not doing too shabby of a job himself. That's Bill Black out of Salina. Keep an eye on him once again. The 59X is on the move. I believe that was a 227 or... These little buzz bombs move around so fast. It's a 327's been doing some hard hitting. That's Carter Smith out of Patriot, sponsored by Rod Brown Inc. There goes the number 07, Jacob Gordon out of Delphos. He's sponsored by Cutting Edge Pigs. And the M80, Jeff Miller out of Wapakoneta, sponsored by National Auto Salvage. Yep. And it looks like we got a few of them already taking himself out of contention, folks. That'd be the number 87, removing his flag from his doorpost. He took one heck of a hard lick there toward the end. That was Chris Anderson out of Wapakoneta. Also the number 13 out. That's Ricky Hutchinson out of Harris. Now in the Buzz Bomb class here, they do have to keep a very close eye on the gas tanks. Hold them up, hold them up, hold them up. Drivers, hold them up. Oh, the action back underway. And I'll tell you, folks, we got these mini cars are putting on one heck of a show here. The Buzz Bombs are getting it. That's the number 327. That's Carter Smith out of Patriot. It'll be after all the original heats are done.
You got a radio.
Can you ask a guy in this green motor? I'll tell you, I'm getting fumes bad. I ain't gonna be able to make it. This thing's parked here all night. It's blowing right up in here. That green loader, it's killing me. I got a headache like you wouldn't believe. If you want me to talk tonight, look, watch it. Watch the cloud. It's stinking. I got a headache. Well, they're dropping like flies. Whoop, hold them up. We got us a fire down there. We do have us a fire in the number 9. I believe we got 4 of them. The number 11X still trying to make himself. I think he's trying to unwedge himself off of that 45. I don't know how much luck he's going to have, but we'll see how Tony Miller out of Gloucester is going to do. He's had a heck of a good run right now. The number 316 of Ben Hauer out of Walpock putting a pretty good hit on it. The 69. That's Kelly Roberts out of McClure. And the 707, Todd Pfeiffer out of Kenton. Again, we got Tony Miller out of Gloucester in that 11X trying to get himself unwedged. He's over there right in between the concrete barricade and the number 45, and he's currently on the timer right now. We'll see how things go. The referee's timing him, and the 707 of Todd Pfeiffer out of Kenton spinning it around. And the number 69R, Kyle Roberts out of McClure. He is going to just miss getting hit in the driver's door, but you can see that rear end on that thing just a popping and bopping around. And a good hit from the 316. Ben Hauer out of Wapakoneta. It looks like we are down to 3 of them. Gonna have to keep a close eye once again on those gas tanks. Number 707 of Todd Pfeiffer out of Kenton. Doing the same thing. 316, 707, and around the bend comes Kyle Roberts in the number 69R out of McClure. Looks like the 316's currently on the timer right now. 2 of them making the breakaway. That's the 69R of Kyle Roberts and the 707 of Todd Pfeiffer out of Kenton. And it looks like they are down to 2 of them hooked up. They're going to try to give them unwedged. We've still got 1 on the timer. 2 of them hooked together. Going to see once 3rd place is awarded. The only time that we do pull 2 vehicles together is when it comes down to 1st place and 2nd place. 2 of them are hooked up during heat. They're pretty much on their own, but when it comes down to the last 2 spots, that's when they will unhook them and get 1st place settled the right way, which is making sure that they know who won legitimately. We are down to 2, folks. Right there, the number 316. Ben Hauer is going to go away with the 3rd place finish tonight. 3rd place in the minis. Going to Ben Hauer. That's going to pay $50 for 3rd. 2nd place is going to pay $150. And 1st place, not a bad deal, $750. Kyle Roberts in the 69R, not doing too shabby of a job. Looks like he went over there. Uh-oh, I think the time. Well, he didn't take too long to get that vehicle refired, but the 707 of Todd Pfeiffer continuing to hammer away. Luckily, Kyle Roberts wasn't stalled out none too long. He's going to go turn around and use the nose of that machine like a battering ram, but I'll tell you, he just put one heck of a hard hit on the 707. We stated earlier, folks, these cars might be small, but they definitely got a lot of potential. And there's just not a whole lot of metal wrapped around these drivers. Looks like we're still down to 2 vehicles. These mini cars are definitely running. Looks like the number 69R of Kyle Roberts kind of laying in wait for the 707 of Todd Pfeiffer out of Kenton to come around here. And it looks like the 69R of Kyle Roberts' machine's getting a little bit on the warm side. Got a lot of steam belching out from underneath the hood of the number 69R. See how this thing goes. So far, Kyle's able to keep that 69R moving, making contact. That's the name of the game. But as the seconds tick by, it looks like more and more steam belching out from underneath the hood of that 69R. Kyle Roberts leaving one heck of a trail of steam down through the track. He's just waiting for the right time to throw in reverse, back up and make contact on Todd Pfeiffer's number 707. That's exactly what he did. Sounds like it's 69R starting to pop and miss just a little bit. Hold him up, drivers, hold him up there. You can see the way the rear of that number 69R is popping and hopping around. He doesn't have, oh, he's got a little bit of fire popping out. Hold him up. He's got a fire raging, and for both of those drivers, they put on one heck of a show. All the drivers out there here in the mini car heat, the Buzz Bomb round put on a heck of a good show, but that means that your winner is going to be the driver of the number 707, Todd Pfeiffer out of Kenton. Second place, a very respectable finish for Kyle Roberts. Looks like the fire just took him out. He's here from McClure. And in third place, the number 316, Ben Hauer out of Wapakoneta, sponsored by DJ Auto Parts. Okay, looks like the number 331, Jason Pennington out of Fairfield, is going to be the first one on the track, sponsored by Juggalo Inc. Following him is going to be the 707, CJ Jennings out of Westchester. The number 05, Corey Fry out of Sydney, sponsored by PNC Handyman Service. The number 121, Bobby Rice out of Hamilton. Is that the second one? What's the red truck behind it? 3, Brian Fugate out of Springfield. Nick King out of Middleton snuck in on us. He's sponsored by Juggalo Inc. And finally, Chris Luma II is in the number 2. He's here out of St. Mary's, sponsored by L&B Tool. 3, 2, 1, let them go! And the mini trucks are underway here at the Smash It Demolition Derby Extreme Destruction event. And the 331, Jason Pennington out of Fairfield, making some good contact. Also the number 2, Chris Luma II out of St. Mary's. He's there in the number 2, putting some good hits on. And the 331, Jason Pennington getting jockeyed around. He's down there with the 423 of Brian Fugate out of Springfield. And I'll tell you, one of these guys, and number 2 took one heck of a wild ride. That was Chris Luma II. He got spun around in a great big daggone hurry, and I'll tell you, Nick King out of Middletown, sponsored by Juggalo Inc. He's got a lot of real estate, a lot of running room, and there he goes in the 423. Brian Fugate out of Springfield, going back-to-back with the number 2 of Chris Luma the second. Number 05, Corey Fry out of Sydney. Looks like he's momentarily stalled out. These little trucks, I'll tell you, they've putting one heck of a beating on out there. There is one heck of a lot of room out there for these little trucks. And so far, they're putting on a pretty good show here. That's for sure. The number 903 of Nick King out of Middletown, going after the radiator of the 423 of Brian Fugate out of Springfield. And looky there, we got the number 331 back a running. Jason Pennington out of Fairfield. He was down in the far corner. Looks like he's got his machine going once again and is back underway. .707 of C.J. Jennings out of Westchester, Ohio, making contact, splitting the difference between a couple of these. 903, kind of doing a little bit of a sachet, kind of a and that was a good clean hit from the number 331 of Jason Pennington. He made contact on the driver's side, but it was not on the driver's door, so that was a good legal hit. You see how fast these trucks do move around out there. The referees try to keep a pretty close eye once again on these mini vehicles, as well as the full-size trucks. They do move the gas cans and their tanks up in behind the driver's compartment. They do have to keep a very close eye on the gasoline situation on these trucks. The way they do start to bend and move around, they do have to keep a close eye. Hold them up, drivers. Hold them up down there. Hold them. And we are down to just 4 pickup trucks left running. 4 of them left running. Vehicles going to be battling it out for the last 2 spots here in the mini truck event. Again, the minis are going to be paying $300 to win, $120 for second place. And I'll tell you, folks, the number 423 is looking a little bit on the warm side. That's Brian Fugate out of Springfield. He's still keeping her moving. The 121 of Bobby Rice out of Hamilton. Hold him up, hold him up. Looks like that guy, the one driver out there, you may need to check out. Check that driver, hold him up. Hold him up, hold him up. 707 CJ Jennings. He's sliding around. I believe that we may be down to 2 of them showing movement right now. 2 of them for sure. Still got 2 of them moving right there. That's the 121 of Bobby Rice out of Hamilton. And of course the 707 CJ Jennings out of Westchester. And now it's down between 1 and 2. Who's going to go away in first place? It's going to be the 707 of CJ Jennings out of Westchester, or is it going to be the 121 of Bobby Rice out of Hamilton? See how things pan out. Now, folks, all we have left after this is going to be the big truck event and finally the large car feature event. Bit of a chilly evening on tap for us, but so far so good. Sounds like things may quiet down just a tad. Referee's telling them to pull them apart, get a little bit of real estate in between these 2 trucks, and then we'll turn them loose, let them hit once again. Looks like the 121 is having a little bit of a rough time getting stopped. Uh-oh! I don't think that's what the 121 wanted to see. Bobby Rice currently sitting up on top. Thinking he might be having some shifting problems or something in the 121 as well. Out of the clutch, I'm not sure. Something's really grinding away on Bobby Rice's number 121. Hold him up. Right there is going to be your winner. Running into 707 CJ Jennings out of Westchester. Second place is going to be the 121 of Bobby Rice out of Hamilton. Big congratulations to those. In first place in the mini truck event. Okay, looks like they are bringing them down to the track area as we speak, the big truck event. That's going to be Jake Robinson in the 4U. He's here out of Coolville, Ohio, sponsored by the new Marshfield Speed Shop. Number 95, Todd Goetz out of Oak Harbor, Ohio. The number 35X, Dan Hall out of Delta, sponsored by Big Richard Motorsports. Tell you folks, if you haven't seen a truck event, and a truck event on a fast track like this, it's a good thing you stuck around because they have a lot of running room. And I'll tell you, I'll bet this is going to be one heck of a good, crazy type of a race. That's James Reeson, number 15 out of Raymond, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. Kevin Phillips is here in the KAP truck. He's here out of Lindsay. The number 186. Excuse me, that's the 86. Brandon Geisler out of Port Clinton. And a familiar pickup truck. That's the 1811X. Jeff Eldrith out of Suffield, sponsored by Eldrith Photography. Here comes the number 617, Scott Howell out of New Bremen, sponsored by True Point. Travis Gibson's coming on the track in the number 76. He's here out of Raymond, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. And finally, the last vehicle out on the track is going to be the number 24R, James Riddick, out of Grailton. 4, 3, 2, 1, let them go. Get the trucks underway, and it looks like the first one off the line is going to be the 1811X Jeff Eldrith out of Suffield, jockeying his machine around for position. Right there, the number 15 of James Reese out of Raymond, kind of slip-sliding up in the corner. He's already doing a lot of spinning in that Kirby's Auto Parts sponsored machine. Jeff Eldrith in the 1811X trying to get jockeyed around. We got that Suburban that looks like a, what of a, oh, look at Jeff Eldrith go in the 1811X. I'll tell you, he took a full crack shot, cleared down at the end and using the nose of that 1811X as a battering ram as he just threw caution to the wind and let the dirt fly as he was making contact going all the way down the track. And I'll tell you folks, this is a very hard, fast track. You can see there's actually, it appeared to be a little bit of smoke popping up. These guys are moving around. And this track is going to be very, very fast. I'd say all of the water that's gone in there, the only thing it's really done is gotten this thing pretty tacky. And Jeff Eldrith in the 1811X is doing one heck of a good job right now. We've got the 95 of Todd Yost out of Oak Harbor. Todd Goetz, and that is number 11, that yellow pickup, folks. He's had the hammer down. Just give him a keep a close eye on that. And it looks like the 617 Scott Powell out of New Bremen is currently out of contention. He's down up on the wall. We already are down one pickup truck right here in front of the announcer stand. The 1811X Jeff Eldrith looking down toward the track to see who the next victim is going to be. The number 76 Travis Gibson. Hold him up, folks. Hold him up. Hold him up. Hold him up. Hold him up. Hold them up, drivers. Hold them up out there. Things are back underway. I'd say things probably not looking too good for Jake Robinson. Jake's up here out of Coolville, down around the Athens area. That's a pretty good ways down 33 from up here.
I think he's on fire.
Okay, looks like the number 4U, Jake Robinson, is out of contention right now. We've got a few of them dropping off here. We hate to see it, but things happen, folks. And got 7 of them left down at the other end. Now we are going to be paying 2 spots, $450 for first, $150 for second place. The number 95 definitely doing a great job out there. Has been doing it the whole time. keep an eye on him. Todd Goetz out of Oak Harbor, Ohio. Also the 1811X of Jeff Eldrith out of Suffield. That's up near the Akron way. Brandon Geisler out of Port Clinton, Ohio. He's in the number 86, and down the track in the number 15 comes James Reese out of Raymond, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. Travis Gibson in the number 76. He's running the Kirby's Auto Parts machine out of Raymond. Brandon Geisler in that 86. He's up there getting jockeyed around right next to the number 24R of James Reddick out of Grailton, Ohio. 7 pickup trucks left. 5 are going to have to be disqualified. Looks like still 7 vehicles running out there. 7 of the large trucks still going. I'll tell you, folks, that number 95, Todd Goetz out of Oak Harbor. He's got that Dodge hammered down. It's like he might be ready to flop off one of them tires on the back, but I'll tell you, the way he's been running, I don't think that's going to slow him down either. He's just going to keep on trucking. He's got her rammed tough. The number 76 of Travis Gibson out of Raymond, coming down to put one heck of a hard shot on the number 95. Looks like the number 35X Dan Hall out of Delta momentarily stalled out. He was right there by James Reese in the number 15. James taking a shot from Travis Gibson in the 76. So we still have 7 pickup trucks left. And that number 95, Tim Goetz out of Oak Harbor, trucking his way on down the track to use the nose of that yellow truck as a battering ram as he goes after Travis Gibson in the number 76. Down here near the announcer stand. Look at him go, folks. Travis Gibson in the 76. Going to be pushing him down. Travis had that thing hammered down and was working his way from one end down to the other. Looks like it did knock the life out of Todd Goetz's machine, but only momentarily. That Chrysler machine just didn't want to stop. That yellow pickup truck, he almost climbed up on top of the number 24R of James Reddick out of Grailton. That's what was going on. I think he's still hooked up on top of him. Just like a big old tow truck right out there in the middle. Here comes Travis Gibson in the 76. I think he's going to line back up on the 95. Not quite enough time. 95 able to slip slide away from there. Jeff Eldrith in the 1811X down at the far end of the track. Going to take a hit from Brandon Geisler in the number 86. Looks like a number 95. Have a little bit of technical problems. Todd Goetz out of Oak Harbor. Looks like he is on the timer right now. Jeff Eldrith in the 1811X, currently right in front of him. And here here comes Jeff Eldredge. My goodness gracious, he put one heck of a shot on Brandon Geisler in the number 86. And that 86 just kind of folded over. That was a good hit from Jeff Eldredge. And look at that. We've got steam and smoke belching out everywhere from the number 86. Brandon Geisler sustained quite a bit of damage, I'll tell you. The number 95, he's back running. Thought he was down and out for the count, but that only lasted a very short amount of time, and he's back going once again. Still running strong. And I'll tell you, folks, usually these big trucks do not disappoint. They put on a very nice show. They're fast running, got some powerful engines. Number 15, James Reese, is going to get very, very lucky because the truck that was just lined up on him, it was only the fact that he caught that front tire that changed his angle of attack and the course that he was going. Because the number 15 was just about ready to get one heck of a hard lick put on him. Doggone, it looks like the 95 is stalled back out, trying to get back on the... Got some problems with the 15. 15 back going. That's James Reese out of Raymond, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. He's going to go back-to-back and bumper-to-bumper with James Reddick out of Grailton in that number 24R. Track Central, Brandon Geisler in the number 86 out of Port Clinton, running side by side with the 1811X of Jeff Eldredge. Wanting in on the action right now is the number 76 of Travis Gibson out of Raymond, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. Number 86 coming back around, but look at the 76 go. Travis Gibson out of Raymond. And doggone it, it looks like the number 76. Travis Gibson had one heck of a night going, and he went back, put that hard hit on, and he was just putting on some fantastic moves. But you see that drive shaft flopping all over the track. He is currently out. Brandon Geisler out of Port Clinton swinging that machine around. The 1811X Jeff Eldredge still very much in the mix of things. And the number 24R in the same boat, James Reddick out of Grailton. He's down there running strong. Looks like we've got movement out of four of them, four sure. Still going on. And look at the number 86 go. That's Brandon Geisler out of Port Clinton, spinning his machine around at a fairly high rate of speed. He's going to turn around and almost make contact on James Reese. The only deal was that the driver's door was showing a little bit worse for the wear right now, folks. Four of them left. Two of them are going to be going away with prize money, and two of them are going to have to go away empty-handed. Jeff Eldredge in the 1811X doing all he can to flip over there and hit the number 15. We got two of them, looks like they're stalled out. That's going to be the number 15, number 86. Didn't take long for James Reese in the 15 to throw her in drive and head on out of there. The 86 still on the timer. That's going to be Brandon Geisler out of Port Clinton, heading down to the other end of the track toward the number 24R of James Reddick out of Grailton. And it looks like the number 15 back on the timer right now. That's James Reese out of Raymond, sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. Looks like a lot more steam and smoke coming off of Jeff Eldredge's number 1811X right now. He's trying to make his way around, but it looks like his front tires are definitely slowing him up quite a bit. The rear end, the problem he has, he's got plenty of horsepower, just not able to get it hooked down onto the track too well. He's getting a little bit of momentum going, but he does have two flats on the passenger side of that 1811X. Jeff trying to push his way down there. The number 15 is stalled out. James Reese on the timer. Right now, the number 24R, James Reddick out of Grailton, seems to be moving around the best right now. So we do have one of them on the timer. Looks like the 86 has been counted out down at this end, so I believe we are down to 3 of them. Number 15 currently on the clock. Referees keeping an eye on them. And the number 15 just now moving. That's James Reese. Backing him up, pulling in to Jeff Eldred's number 1811X. Jeff's here out of Suffield. And you can see that 1811X really folded up in that bed area of his pickup truck. The number 24R, James Reddick, out of Grailton, still moving around pretty well in the 24R. 3 vehicles left. The number 15 stalled out once again. Pickup trucks, all nose to nose out there. 3 of them circled around, all of them wanting to be in the top 2 spots that are money paying spots. Again, first place is going to be paying $450. Second place, $150. Not too shabby of a night. These guys definitely put on one heck of a good show out here in the truck event. 3 trucks still running, still moving down at the far end. Again, that's James Reese in the number 15, the 1811X of Jeff Eldred, and James Reddick in the number 24R. All showing movement down at the far end of the track right now. Referees keeping a close eye on what's going on down there. And it looks like the number 15 once again stalled out. That's James Reese. Referees keeping a very close eye on what's going on down at the far end of the track. And it looks like the number 15 being told his time has expired. We are down to 2 pickup trucks left. Hold them up, folks. That's going to be it. That is going to be it. There is going to be your winner. Time has expired on the number 24R. First place is Jeff Eldredge in the number 1811X. Let them go! And the feature event's now underway here at the Smash It, Crash It, Tear 'em Up Automobile Demolition Derby Extreme Destruction feature event, which is going to be paying out $8,000. Okay, looks like we still have all 10 vehicles running. Or excuse me, all 13. We are going to be paying the top 10 spots. like the action's still underway and everybody's migrated down to the far end of the track. Thirteen automobiles going to be battling it out for the top 10 spots right now. The number 400, Jason Taylor out of Proctorville. What's going to happen, folks? We are going to have about 3 vehicles are going to be disqualified, and then we're going to start once 3 are out, the remaining 10 cars are going to be going away with prize money. 10th place and 9th place both get $125. 7th place, 8th place is $250. It looks like the number 422 momentarily stalled out. That was Toby Hiley out of Beaver Creek. Referees keeping a close eye on that number 422, keeping him on the timer. He's still getting hammered by the number 400 down at the other end. That's Jason Taylor out of Proctorville. The number 15, Chad Cole out of Bodie. And we already have one of them down, the number 422. Looks like he's ran out of time to take one of them out. And here comes the number 527, Mike Elliott. Josh Henry in the 00 out of St. Paris, sponsored by St. Paris Marathon. Number 727, Tim Seitz out of Kenton, right sideways. Back it into the number 15 of Chad Cole right now. The 00 is going to remind him that, hey, I'm here. Josh Henry's in the house. That's Josh running out of St. Paris in that 00. He's currently side by side with the number 628 of Nick Catalona out of Chesapeake. Out at Track Central's Chucko in the 484. These are out of Milford Center. Right side by side with the 222 of Trey Nichols out of Urbana. The 131, taking a look around, Joey Braun out of Salina, sponsored by Midwest Logistic, and circling around the number 26 of J.T. Hildebrand out of Urbana in that number 26. He's going to get a pretty good shot in the side, courtesy of the 400 Jason Taylor out. Sorry, that was not that. That was the number 400 Jason Taylor taking a hit. I believe that was. And the number 527. Backing up here. That's Trace Braun. He's down here side by side with the number 400, the 222 of Trey Nichols is down here, and these guys are kind of getting jockeyed around for position. The 00's right in the middle of the mix. Josh Henry in that 00. He's over here side by side with the 131 of Joey Braun. trying to move them out of the end. Got a lot of people all stuck down here toward the one end of the track, and it looks like we do have a lot of sparks just flying out from one of those vehicles. Can't quite tell. It looks like 484 Chucko's machine sustained quite a bit of damage on the rear of that machine. That thing folded straight up. Looks like he took one heck of a hard lick off of somebody. Right now he's currently pushing the 527 of Mark Elliott down toward the far end of the track. Right in behind him is going to be the number 15 of Chad Cole out of Botkins, and in behind him is going to be the 727 of Tim Sight out of Kenton, all working the far end of the track. We do currently have, I believe, that is the number 400. The 400 is out of contention. That was Jason Taylor out of Proctorville. We do have two of them down. Two down. We are down to 11 vehicles running. 11 of them running. One more is going to be counted out, and then it will be down. The money-paying spots. Again, they are going to pay from 10th place down to first. 10 spots. We'll be walking away with at least some money tonight. First place, not a bad paycheck at $8,000. 8 big ones. 8 large. Number 26. We got one of them coming in there at a high rate of speed. That was the 00. Wanted to get her on. That's Josh Henry out of St. Paris. In there in a big hurry. Special delivery for the number 727. Also the 628. Nick Catalonia out of Chesapeake. Nick Catalonia, the number 628. Trying to get spun around out of the car. Got the 218 exits out of Gibson. That's all out. Sponsored by Kirby's Auto Parts. And the mud and the dirt is flying out here in the big money round. Okay, folks, we are down to the 10 money-paying spots. We've got 3 cars counted out. We've got 10 cars left, all of them guaranteed at least some prize money. Cars remaining. Who's it going to be? $8,000. First place prize. 8 large. We do have the number 527. Like that's Trace Braun. That didn't last too long. He's got to be fired and he's back. Chuck up the 484. Making contact. Mark Elliott out of East. The 527 of Trace Braun out there. The other 527 those two apart. Mark Elliott got the 527 vehicle. Trace Braun does not. 15 of Chad Cole. Right track central. There goes the 727 Tim Sight. His way in there. like 10th place is going to go to the Double O. Josh Henry out of St. Paris. Double O is going to be in 10th place tonight. Not a bad finish. We'll be getting some prize money. Right now we have 9 vehicles left. 9 of them left. Comes the number 15 of Chad Cole. He's coming into the 131, driven by Joey Braun out of Salina, sponsored by Midwest Logistics. Seth Gibson in the green, 218X here out of Bell Fountain, coming around, throwing her in reverse, going into the number 5, 27, driven by Mark Elliott out of Eaton. 9 cars left right now, 9 of them left. The 222 still running. Trey Nichols out of Urbana. Chucko in the 484, the number 527, Tracy Braun, the other 527, Mark Elliott. Both of those guys still running. Tim Sykes is in the 727, 222, Trey Nichols. JT Hildebrand is in the number 26. Joey Braun in the 131. Josh Henry in that 00 did finish in 10th spot tonight. Like they're stepping them up just a little bit. Hearing a little bit of the horsepower being unleashed out there in the late going. Things coming around. Hold them up, guys. Hold them up. Hold them up. Hold them up. Go, getting things back underway. We do have 10th place already figured out right now. We do have 10th place has been awarded to the 00. We've got 9 vehicles left, 9 running automobiles currently out on the track. Keeping track and tab of what's going on of all the rest of these guys, because as they go up, the dollar value goes up quite considerably. At the very least, these guys are going to go away with 125. Progressing all the way up to the $8,000 first place prize. Looks like we've got some problems, I believe, but that's the number 26, JT Hildebrand. Looks like he's got his rear of his machine kind of folded down and under. Keeping those rear wheels, they are up spinning right now quite terribly. Not able to get any of that horsepower down onto the track. Everybody kind of watching
slightly and moving around him. He does have 1 minute. Referees do have him on the timer. We'll see. Looks like 9th place is up. Looks like the same thing may be happening to number 15. He's having a little bit of technical problems getting that horsepower tied down to the track. We'll see how this progresses, folks. Right now, seconds are clicking away. Okay, looks like we still have one push about halfway out of the track down at the far end. I believe that is the number 26. JT Hildebrand's down about halfway out of the track, it looks like, down at the far end. Referee's got them on the time. Looks like we do have 5:27 of Trace Braun. Has gone out. Okay, 9th place has been awarded JT Hildebrand. He just hopped out of his vehicle down at the far end of the track. That's Trace Braun in that 5:27. Okay, Trace Braun has been counted out in the 5:27. So we are down. He got 8th place. JT Hildebrand's 9th in the 00 is 10th place down at the far end. Okay, 7 vehicles currently left running. 7 spots still up for grabs. That means that all of them left running right now are at least going to be walking away with $500 prize money. 7th place does pay $500. See how things go as the second flick by here in the feature event for the Smash It Demolition Derby Extreme Destruction.
And it looks like a bit of a wild ride for the number 527, Mark Elliott out of Eaton. He kind of popped that thing up in the air. And right now he's kind of nose to nose with the 484. Like that's Mike Elliott ramming into the side of Chucko's 484. Chucko unleashing a hit on the 131 of Joey Braun out of Salina. It looks like these two are starting to get a little bit of a mixing it up match going right now. That's the 131 of Joey Braun and the 484 of Chucko. These two fellows going to be mixing it up down toward the far end of the track right now. Just followed a big cloud of smoke for the 131. Looks like he's got some rubbing going on down up in the vehicle there. The 15 of Chad Cole out of Bodkin going into the side of Chucko. Right now, we've got 7 vehicles running. 7 of them still running out on the track. Mark Elliott, the 527, just took one heck of a hit from the 218X of Seth Gibson. These guys falling themselves down the track, pushing out forward. It's like the 222 of Trey Nichols on the clock right now. We also have the 484 on the clock. That's Chucko. York.
222 sept.
Okay, we did have the 222 of Trey Nichols. He is out. He's going to be in 7th place. Chucko in the 484 broke a drive shaft. He is in 6th. The flag went down on the 222. And Chucko's drive shaft is out. His flag is still up. So that's how we've got 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th place has been decided. So right now it's the top 5, folks. Top 5 still running. lot of smoke out of the 131. Joey Braun making his way down to the far end. He's been having a lot of smoke issues out of that thing for most of the evening here. He was chasing down to 484 a while back. These guys doing their thing out there, and a whole heck of a lot of smoke. Right now we got a couple of them nose to nose out there. Seth Gibson in the 218X and the number 527 of Mark Elliott. Need to get a little bit of room in between those two, get a little bit of hitting, because right now they're just kind of pushing and shoving on one another's front bumper, and that ain't going to get it. We're going to sit there and see what's going on. These guys did just that, get a little bit of room out. And right now the 131 of Joey Braun out of Salina coming into the mix of things. He's going to be taking a couple shots off of Seth Gibson in the 218X. Got the 15 of Chad Cole still running, and he's over there pushing and shoving. Sounds like that Seth Gibson just unloaded the horses and let them run a little bit on that green 218X. He's got a little bit of special deliveries going on for the 131 of Joey Braun, who's been on the receiving end the last couple of hits from Seth Gibson's 218. Looks like he just skipped out on that. Missed out on the last hit. The number 727, Tim Seitz, out of Kenton, still running. He's in the 727, right about track central. He's going to get the Malachi Crunch right down in the middle of the mix of thing. Seth Gibson over on the one end and the 527 of Mark Elliott over here on the other. Chad Cole in the number 15 going back and barely making contact with the 527 as he slips by him there. And we are down 5 vehicles left. And a good hard hit out of the 527 of Mark Elliott into the side of Seth Gibson's number 218X, the number 15 of Chad Cole. He's in that red and white machine, going to go nose to nose with the 727 of Tim Seitz. Five strong running large cars still battling it out here in the late going of the Extreme Destruction feature event. Chad Cole coming down to split the difference between Mark Elliott in the number 527. Tim Seitz in the 727. Seth Gibson's in the 218X. And it looks like we do have the 527 having a little bit of technical problems getting that vehicle going right now. Chad Cole to number 15 putting a good hit on the nose of the number 727. Looks like the 15 stopped just short of the driver's door of the 218X Seth Gibson. Not going to get so lucky the second time. He did take a hit. It looked like it was on the left rear rim. And I'll tell you, folks, looks like that one vehicle just kind of hopped off. That was the 527 of Mark Elliott. He's back on the move again. Chad Cole still working away on the 727 of Tim's sights. Tim's here out of Kenton. And I'll tell you, for not, gonna take a look and a peek in there. Seth Gibson just lost a radiator on the 218X, or he lost something in that cooling system. He's gonna pull out of there, kind of clear some of that steam out there, throw a little bit of mud as he pulls a donut and goes into the side of the 131 of Joey Braun out of Salina. And things not looking too good for Mark Elliott in the 527 down there. He's lost a whole bunch of parts off of that front end, and it's starting to really dig into the mud. The good thing for him, okay, Tim Seitz is in 5th place in the number 727. Four vehicles left. The 131 of Joey Braun swinging around. Looks like the 527 slowing up quite a bit. It looks like an attempt to shove Chad Cole up on the concrete barricades may have worked. Seth Gibson now turning his sights over to the 131 of Joey Braun. The referee's keeping an eye on the number 527 of Mark Elliott. He does have 1 minute to make contact. They do have him on the timer. He's trying to get that vehicle squared away, and it looks like he may just get it this time because he's got to hit a running vehicle, and that he just did. Still got 4 vehicles left running. And Chad Cole in the number 15 made his way out of the predicament that he was in. Looks like these vehicles definitely getting a little bit on the tired side right now, folks. 131 Joey Braun's machine definitely scattering some parts down at the far end. Chad Cole in the 15. Looks like he's sitting probably Looks like time ran out on the 131. He didn't do too shabby. He finished up in 4th place, which is going to pay $1,250. Well, it looks like we have at least one of them out there now that has absolutely no steering, and that's going to be Seth Gibson in the 218X. Looks like he's putting a bunch of inputs on that steering wheel, and it just doesn't do a whole lot of anything. So if you're kind of wondering why the 218X is kind of going back and forth, he has absolutely no steering. He was able to make contact just now with the nose of the number 527 of Mark Elliott.
Is he? Never heard of him.
What's that?
I've never heard of him.
And Mark Elliott in the 527 going nose to nose. Got two drivers unable to steer out there. The number 15 is currently the only one that is able to steer that machine. Looks like he's the 15, got his own throttle, and he's got a hand throttle he's using. We've got 3 vehicles out there that are definitely injured, but all trying to work it out for the top 3 spots. Chad Cole coming back to split the difference right between the 527 of Mark Elliott and the 218X of Seth Gibson. Chad Cole again is in the number 15. Coming right down the track in that red and white station wagon. I think he's the 527 of Mark Elliott going into Seth Gibson in the 218X. Chad Cole in the 15. Mark Elliott is trying to make his way back here, and after he's lost the whole front assembly there on the front driver's side, I think he's actually got a pretty good system down the way he's feathering that throttle, getting it hopping up and around. Right now, I don't think we got a car out there that has too much steering on it. We got Seth Gibson absolutely has no input on his. Those wheels have been straight except for when somebody hits him in the front. We got the 527 of Mark Elliott missing one whole side. And then we got the 15. He's having some serious steering issues and throttle issues on that thing. So right now,
guys are having one heck of a pickle out there trying to keep these vehicles going and making contact. But see who's going to be the lucky one out here. The 527 definitely getting a little bit warm right now. Chad Cole on the 15 trying to push the 218X Seth Gibson back just a little bit further. And folks, you can see the smoke definitely starting to belch out of these stacks a little bit, which means these things are running with quite a bit of temperature underneath these cylinders right now. So it may be just a matter of time before these three get reduced to a 2 and then the 2 to a 1. But right now I guarantee all three of them sitting pretty well, because even third place is going to pay $2,500. Do have quite a bit of sparks coming out from Chad Cole's vehicle right now. He is up on top of. There's a rim out there that he's up on top of, and that thing's probably kicking a little bit on his drive shaft, causing all those sparks. Right now we got Seth Gibson on the timer. Looks like a 218X trying to get his machine refired. We got 3 spots left. Chad Cole coming back to put another hit on Seth Gibson. We're going to be stacking them up 3 deep right here. He's got Seth Gibson still on the clock. Coming in there is the number 527 of Mark Elliott. He knocked the life out of his machine. He got it refired though. Lucky the 15 of Chad Cole right now sitting in the best spot. And right there, Seth Gibson is going to go away with 3rd place tonight. So now it's down to 2 drivers. It's going to be Mark Elliott in the 527 and Chad Cole in the number 15. 1st and 2nd place. To be determined. My goodness, look at that right here at the end. The 527 getting popped up in the air, courtesy of the number 15. Okay, hold them up, fellas. We do need, is there a skid loader available? We're going to unhook these 2. We're going to unhook them. Right now, the number 527. Mark Elliott's getting his machine popped around. He had a little bit of a hang up there for just a slight second. Chad Cole in the number 15. And the 527 of Mark Elliott belching out quite a bit of smoke from the stack still. Right now, Chad Cole got him. Uh-oh! That thing flamed up. I think that was just an exhaust. Oh, hold them up. They're pointing down there. We do have a fire down inside the engine compartment. So right there is going to be the winner, the number 15, Chad Cole. Is going to be 1st place.
And $8,000 again. We need drivers only on the track. We got a drivers meeting after this is over. They talked about cutting them and whatnot. We're going to have drivers only on the track, please, until this all gets settled. But please, we do need drivers only out there till they get everything figured out. The 527 is second place. That is Mark. In the number 15 out of Botkins is in first place. He finished first place. The winner tonight, second place, Mark Elliott out of Eaton in the 527. Third place, Seth Gibson in the 218X. Fourth place is the 131, Joey Braun. Fifth place, Tim Seitz in the 727. Chucko in sixth place in the Chucko 484. Seventh place, the 222 of Trey Nichols. Eighth place, Trace Braun in the 527. Ninth is the 26 of JT Hildebrand, and 10th is